Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Akakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Sincere Shalom to the 144,001 Now let me double check, see if this is rolling. Yeah. So I came across this video. Not gonna play any of it. You see the YouTube channel name and the title. Shad Ride Clips, how to survive the first 14 days of a global famine. And this guy on the screen, he's a bug out. I went to his channel. The Sean Ryan dude, he has different people. For the most part, it looks like just Edomites on his channel, and he just talks to him about, basically anything revolving around war. All right. And this fellow on the screen, he brought up how since 2020, he noticed that there's going to be a famine that's going to come to the world. And we know through prophecy that society will be appointed mass death through famine, pestilences, and the sword. All right. Now, how is this going to all play out? We don't know. It could be a mixture of artificially created famine, artificially created pestilences. We know for a fact that this devil has been playing on those things, but we don't know how this grandiose shift in society will be. So let me start with Jeremiah, the 15th chapter. And the title of it reads, Judgment Must Come, but I'm not going to read verse 1. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And to read verse 3. And I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith Yahweh. The sword to slay, so you're going to get put to death. Right? A sword just means a weapon. It could be a hammer, a pocket knife, a crowbar, an AR-15. All right? And the dogs to tear. So these wild dogs, these pets that are going to run loose. Because there's tens of millions of pet dogs in Babylon and Great alone. Right? And now factor in them breeding and then how many stray dogs and, And the fowls of the heaven and the beast of the earth to devour and destroy. Yeah, so you're going to have, when you have a corpse, okay, when you have a corpse, you'll have the buzzards come and eat it. And there are certain bird species out there, birds of prey, that can literally kill, right? They can literally kill a human. Like a golden eagle. They can dive at 200 miles per hour, right? A golden eagle. You have a bald eagle. These are way bigger than a bald eagle. They're heavier, stronger, faster, and have they're taller and they have a wider wingspan. They're just objectively bigger, stronger animals than a golden eagle. Imagine that. What do they have? 2.5, 3-inch long razor sharp talons, nose diving at you, and they cut up your neck. I seen videos of them grabbing goats, big old 30, 40, maybe even 50 plus pound goats, picking them up, flying off with them, not literally, like for miles or whatever. They'll pick them up, fly them for about 30, 40 feet, and then drop them because they're smart enough to know they drop them from that, like down a mountain like that, they're going to roll and tumble and they're going to bust open and die. And they're strong, right? To pick up, because they don't weigh no more than 10, 15 pounds. And they're picking up a creature that weighs 4 to 5 times its weight. Even for a second, that's some strength. right? So the Most High Yahweh is gonna point these lions, these hyenas, these animals in these zoos, these black bears, these mountain lions. You know, um, if you live in Texas and the surrounding areas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, there's been video footage of these uh black cats. They're basically they're jaguars, because only jaguars and leopards can get that dark pattern, whatever they call it, melanism, where they get real black. I know you heard the saying Black Panthers or whatever. There's black panthers, and it can't be mountain lions because mountain lions don't have that quote unquote gene to make themselves get real dark. They're these jaguars, these real dark. They're jaguars, real black, right? And you can see the patterns on their skin, their fur or whatever. But they're jaguars. But if you go to Esau in his forest, whatever his forest department is, they say, oh no, there's no jaguars in Texas and Oklahoma and all that. They'll tell you that there's jaguars in, I think, Arizona, but there's jaguars all over the you know the states connected to Mexico and a little bit beyond that, like Oklahoma. All right, there's jaguars all over there. All right, mainly these black ones, for whatever the reason is. And I looked it up. These jaguars, the black ones, they have different hunting patterns than the regular jaguars. They move different than regular jaguars. All right. So I'm gonna reread. I'm gonna do verse 2. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus said Yahweh, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for the famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. All right. So, and these curses, as is written, are going to fall upon our enemies. Let's go to Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So guess what? These animals going to run loose worldwide. Pestilence, starvation, and whatever else new that's going to come. Because Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before. Let's go to Ezekiel 7. And verse 5, thus said Yahweh, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come. It watches forth thee, behold, it is come. So guess what? It's nothing but evil that's coming to this earth. And it's going to speak, right now it's calm, right? We had a little disturbance with the C-19, but it's going to be something else, and it's going to be way worse. This is Ezekiel 7:15. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. He that is in the field shall die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. Okay. So these cities is going to be the worst places to be as things get worse, because these cities rely on a power grid. They rely on a 3-day trucking. Because I used to work at a what do you call it? Like, I was an overnight stalker, so I know how the food works, how they bring it in and stuff. It is a 3-day system. The 3-day system is essentially implemented at all these major food chains. So they only have enough food. They figured out humans' eating patterns or humans' shopping patterns to figure out, okay, we only need about 3 days of food before we need another shipment. So that's about 2 shipments a week, pretty much. So after once something crazy happens and they suddenly halt shipping, all right, after about 3 days, let's say they do overdrive, let's say a week. After a week, all that stuff is gone. all nationwide. All the, of course, these people are going to be a little bit smart in go up the food supply chain and probably go for farms and like food distribution centers. They're going to go to for those things. So after about 2 weeks, all the food places are going to be ran through. They're going to be emptied out. And then what's going to happen after that? They're just going to be home invasions. Okay, they're going to go for your home. If you got a garden, is visible, somebody can just walk down the street, see your garden, or they can just peek over your fence, see your garden that's getting ran through. They're going to run through it because people are going to be starving. Let's go to Matthew 24th chapter and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation. So that's a race war. All right. And kingdom against kingdom. So this is like a typical war. All right. Like Russia versus Ukraine. With a kingdom versus kingdom. All right. Because kingdom just means you're like a country. Like your place of rule. A nation is represents a race. And there shall be famines. Yeah. Starvation. And pestilences. So that's just catching a disease like HIV. And earthquakes in diverse places. So it's going to be more earthquakes. More earthquakes are going to come in diverse places, means where earthquakes typically don't hit. Earthquakes typically don't hit Colorado. Earthquakes typically don't hit Nebraska, right? But there's going to be earthquakes in places like that where they don't usually happen. Okay? Now I'm going to end this off in 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter. Because this is how it's going to be right here. This is what's coming. 2nd Esdras 9 and verse 16. Verse 15. And I have said before, and now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish. So there's going to be more people that's going to be put to death than of them which shall be saved, that's going to survive. So the overwhelming majority of people are going to die. Like as this verse 16, like as a wave is greater than a drop. So that proves that the majority of people are going to die. All right. It's going to be more than 50, 60%. It's going to be 80, 90%. The majority of people on the planet Earth are going to die from the sword, pestilence, and famine. That's the 3 ways. That's the 3 main appointed deaths that Yahweh has brought to man. All right. And that's really the only 3 ways you can die, right? Pestilence just means any type of disease. Famine can be dehydration or no food or water. And then a sword is just getting killed. Either you kill yourself or you get killed by another living thing or accidental death, or you get killed by the Elohim or whatever, right? That's the 3 ways people out here are going to get put to death. And it's going to be the majority. Now, yes, the majority of people are going to die from, the majority of people that die in Jacob's trouble will be because of pestilence and famine, right? Because that's just the fastest, most efficient way to kill people, right? Is just starve them and release diseases, okay? So with that, check this video out, all right? See it on the screen, and shalom.